My name is Marcell Hanson, and you're listening to Small Habits, Big Changes. Let's dive in. Welcome to this week's episode. I've had a couple conversations as of late that have me coming to some clarity around why some of you are struggling. And I heard it best put in an interview last week by Gabrielle Lyons, saying that, really my paraphrasing of her is what stands in the way of people making healthy changes and creating a life of wellness, whether that's what you're eating, what you're doing throughout the day, how you're hydrating, or maybe your quality of sleep. The one thing that stands in the way of you actually obtaining the success that is so obtainable is truly your sense of self and your feeling of worthiness. I couldn't agree with it more. I know so many people who have tried everything under the sun that most people would find success in, yet they constantly trip themselves up. They're standing in their own way. They're literally blocking their success because they don't truly deep down believe that they deserve it, that they don't deserve to be happy, to be loved. They don't believe they're worthy. So today is just a quick reminder that indeed you are. Indeed, you are worthy. We are put on this planet to make manifest the magic that is created all around us and through us. Our potential is only thwarted by our own small thinking, by our own inaccurate thinking. I know that my success, as I deem it, because we each have an individual view of what success is, I know that my success is completely predicated on me moving out of the way of the universe's plan, of me showing up as clearly and as aware as possible and letting whatever masterful plan the universe has for me work through me. I'm a conduit. And the only time in my half century plus on the planet that gets tripped up is when I stand in my own way. I know this for myself several times over, certainly in my early adulthood. And I know this for each and every one of you out there, that you are whole, complete, and perfect just as you are. Whatever the universe is created of, that sort of magic, all of those atoms and that chemistry, you and I, we are all made out of that same exact cosmic stuff. We're here to express our full potentiality. And like I said, really the only person getting in our way is ourselves. Gotten a lot of flack over the last several years, decades, in fact, about how stringent, how disciplined is the word I'll use because that I see as a positive attribute, but how disciplined I am to my wellness, whether it's staying hydrated and moving, exercising, staying active, eating whole foods, sleeping regularly, my stable table, those things that I do each and every day, or maybe it's the things that I stand true to in my beliefs or my knowing, rather. I have heard mumblings and inferences of criticism. Has meant absolutely nothing to me, to be honest. I've been really blessed to be around people, to have a family and a close-knit circle of friends that understand that's who I am, that's what I stand for, and that I've been very, very consistent in that discipline for decades now. And the ones that have stuck around have chosen to accept that to one degree or another. Yet I realized after listening to this interview with Gabrielle Lyons that she's exactly right. Like that her take on that is one I not only support, but I understand that over all the years that I've coached individuals and groups and been around people, whether it's in the community or in the workplace, in my family, or even in my friend circle, I can see that when people fall short, when individuals fall short of something they want to obtain, a goal, a milepost, even a task that they want to complete, the reason deep down that they fail is because they don't believe that they are worthy of success, of happiness, of being loved. They don't believe they deserve that. If they did believe that they were worthy, they would not give up. Yet they end up giving up on themselves, whether it be a program they signed up for, whether it be journaling, whether it be a therapy of some sort, whether it be regular massages or acupuncture or reading books or executing on goals around my stable table. There is something embedded in many people that have them believe that they are not worthy, that they're not worthy of being truly, truly happy and successful in their endeavors. So they lower their standard and they continue to struggle in whatever realm they're focused on because there's something on a deeper level that's prohibiting them from actually succeeding. And if by some stretch of extreme effort or miracle manifest, they do find some seeming success in that area, it's short-lived because the root of the issue is that they don't believe they're worthy. And so they will self-sabotage and they will backpedal and they will let off of their commitment to themselves as they've done many, many times before. And then they recoil and probably experience a fair amount of shame around that and maybe even promise to do better the next time or try something different next week or what have you, they say to themselves. I'm truly not at liberty to say that I know this firsthand because this has not been my experience. I've said many times that I might just be lucky. I might have many lives of experience behind me. But my dad said to me just one time when I was a teenager, I was probably 15, 16, maybe 17 years old. He said I could do anything I set my mind to. He said, you can do anything you set your mind to, anything you want to do. And I was naive enough as a youngster to believe him. And that became my operating system. Now, people who don't understand that internal confidence, that sure-footedness, may judge it as something else. Arrogance, ego. It's simply not the case. I do believe that I can do anything I set my mind to, and I have always, and I have found much success in doing those things that I set out to do. I don't feel, for the most part in my last 20 years as an adult that I stand in my way much at all. I feel like I have a lot more potential to fulfill. And at the same time, I'm very pleased with where I'm at, and how that shows up day in and day out is really just living my best life. I love what I do. I love who I interact with. I love who I am. And everything around me supports that. And if it doesn't, then I take an audit and I change it. There's a lot of opportunity in the world, a lot of opportunity in the world. And I think that the majority of people experience letdown or disappointment because they have this internal track running that has them believing they're not worthy. The truth is, it's just not true. However, if you have created a reality for yourself where this is the soundtrack, that's all you hear, you've really hypnotized yourself into believing it, it is very difficult for anyone or anything to shake you from it. I know this firsthand as a coach. In fact, it was the reason I stopped coaching for many years. It's because I always said to my clients, if I'm working harder at your success than you are, then it's not working. See, when I take on a client, I'm committed to their success, and their vortex of energy influences me and mine theirs. So I take that very seriously. And if I'm working harder than them to make it happen, it's probably not a fit. And I've taken that into all of my businesses over the years. I believe that we train people how to treat us, and that includes ourselves. If you are constantly berating yourself, saying negative things about yourself, internally or externally, if you're getting down on yourself on a regular basis, this will become your reality. It will become where you live. It's completely separate from your potential, but it becomes your everyday. Tony Robbins says about the emotions that you experience on a regular basis become your habitual states. So if you're always being negative and you're always being, a naysayer, poor me, victim mentality, then that will become your MO. That will become your operating system. It is probably the easiest thing that you can change with today's exposure and for the last 30, 40 years exposure. I mean, I listened to self-development on cassette tapes and then CDs, and certainly have podcasts and YouTubes that you can listen to and take in nowadays. It's so simple to surround yourself with better messages, with healthier messages, with more positive messages. Evidently, it's hard to make the decision to do that. But once you decide, there is a plethora of applicable information, data out there for you to flood your system with positive reinforcement, with positive messages, with positive outlook. You can shift that very, very easily. But what more importantly needs to be shifted is your commitment level. You need to raise your standards. Another thing Tony Robbins said early on, it's the quickest way to really experience change, changing your state, raising your standards. And once you do that, you can start to create a state of flow where you know who you are, where you show up consistently, where the people around you that don't serve you, they fall away. And if they don't, then you have to make a concerted effort sometimes to distance yourself from them and replace them with positive influence, whether that be on a YouTube video, whether that be a movie, a book you consume, whether that be going out in nature, whether it's involving yourself in a positive group activity, going on a yoga retreat or a meditational retreat, or whether it's just retreating within. For those of you who make the excuse that these things cost money, it doesn't cost any money to journal in your own home. You don't even have to buy a journal or a special pen. You can just write on regular paper or backs of napkins or anything that you have that you can write on to get started. These things are not difficult. What's difficult by perspective is living each and every day feeling unworthy, living each and every day feeling as though this is as good as it may get, or that you'd never have the things or the feelings that you want in life. Everything comes down to perspective. We've talked about it before, but the truth is you always have it better than somebody else. So count your blessings. Be grateful for what you do have, and more will come to you. More clarity, more abundance, more joy. Of course, there's always the polarity, and with more joy, there will be more sorrow. But that is the dichotomy of being human. There'll always be the story. People say they don't have time. They don't have time to sit down one-on-one with someone and hash it out. They don't have time to journal for 5 minutes twice a day. They don't have time to go to a massage. They don't have time to sit quietly on their own. They don't have time to focus on meal prep. They don't have time to exercise. They don't have time to hydrate. They don't have time to go to bed early. They don't have time to set up a quality sleep environment so they can actually put their best foot forward each and every day. It takes a lot of time. That's what people think. And it's probably the biggest lie outside of not feeling worthy that you can convince yourself of. Because the truth is, if you think you don't have time to be the healthiest version of yourself, if you think you don't have time to live to the fullest expression that you can, you may be in for a very rude awakening. Because you know what takes a lot of time up? Time that you don't have at all? Being sick, manifesting dis-ease, not being able to get up out of a chair, out of a bed, into the shower by yourself, not being able to button up your clothes, bend over, touch your toes, make a meal. If you don't take the time, the few minutes that it takes to get clarity and to execute on these wellness behaviors now, unfortunately, there will come a day that you're very likely faced with a rude awakening that it takes a lot less time to be healthy, a lot less time. It, in fact, creates more time so you can enjoy the life that you have. I spend a lot of time with people that are quite a bit older than me, some 70-year-olds, but a lot of octogenarians, handful of nonagenarians. And I don't think it's ever too late to live your best life. Of course, your best life will look different if you wait until you've manifest dis-ease. I hope that if you're waiting on a wake-up call, that you consider this to be one. I'm a firm believer in gradients and doing one small thing today that can make your tomorrow better. And not just your tomorrow better, but your next year better and your next decade better, and maybe 20 years down the way. It's important that we take action now, understanding the power of today, but also that we do it with the outlook of a long-term journey. There's so many people I hear saying they want to consume all that they can and wear themselves out and die young, in their 50s or 60s. That's a cop-out. It's a story. If you're here because you want to be here. Nobody wants to be sick. I don't believe that. Nobody wants to be riddled with dis-ease and dependent on other people and dependent on the system is not looking out for you anyway. So here's your opportunity. Every day is your opportunity. Every minute to do something, not to prevent that, but to embrace and embody the life that you do want. Focus on that. I hope this message has landed well with you and that you've gotten some gold from it. If you did, share it with a friend or a loved one. I don't know anything that's more important than you realizing how valuable you are to the planet, to your immediate surroundings, to yourself. I wish you this week clarity and ease, but also awareness. Much blessings to you. Thank you for spending your time listening to Small Habits, Big Changes. Just remember those small little things that you can do now. They really do make a big, big difference. They make big, big changes for your future. Have a lovely week. Stay strong and be awesome. Thank you so much for listening today. If you feel any part of this episode resonated with you, then please consider sharing it with a friend who may also find value in it. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And before you go, did you know we have a fantastic free text community? If you want more bite-sized health hacks and reminders delivered directly to your phone, absolutely free, then text keyword YES to 206-483-2960. Again, that's keyword YES to 206-483-2960. And we'll see you on the inside.